So I contested that post and then I won. I was a placement head. So I was fairly engrossed in the second year on placements. So that was my standard operating procedure. I enjoyed my stint in the second year as placement head. What also happened at the end of the first year was that we had the elections coming up, the Student Advisory Council, and what was another post called the independent member. Technically, on paper, it's supposed to be the final say on student affairs, like an arbitrating body, independent of the student body to reconcile any differences of opinion and all of that. So I contested that post for that post and then I won, and I set up my entire team. And one of the biggest responsibilities for an independent member is to run the placements. Okay, so if you tell me I was a placement head.
So you didn't have a placement committee made of students. So this was the placement.
We had. I was a placement head. Then I had to form a committee. I also formed a jumbo committee. We had 18 DOM. They said 18 people will be on the committee because there's a lot of information asymmetry. Because always a worry was, oh, there is no rep in my DOM. When somebody goes back from the committee back to the DOM, then obviously there's discussion, everybody's anxiety is taken care of, right? So the previous year, I think they had about 8 or 9 people. I said, no, I'll expand it. Nothing so holy that it needs to be a smaller number, and more the merrier. So then we could get more work done. We had larger groups for different tasks that we had to do. So I was fairly engrossed in the second year on placements. So if you ask me much about what I did in second year, it's a blur in my head.
So you were placement head. So tell us about your summer placements and final placements. Where did you do?
Oh, my summer placement, I was with this company called Whirlpool India.
Okay.
And in Whirlpool India, they had started a customer financing business called Whirlpool India Financial Services. They wanted to do dealer financing and consumer financing, both. Then my final placement was with ANZ Greenlace. I was a placement head. I did not apply to the bank at that point in time when it come to campus, because my thing was very clear. Anybody who wants me to write some 4 open-ended essays, I will not apply to them. Tell me more about yourself. Tell me about one incident that changed your life, and what was your learning. I said I don't have the time. I will not do it. I remember that ANZ had this, so I didn't fill up that form. Because otherwise, what I only used to apply to those companies where I did not have to fill up an additional form with open-ended questions. Where you just bung in your CV, then you're good to go. At Greenlace was day 1 on campus. After the process got over, the HR lady in Greenlace said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "No, I didn't apply to your bank. No, but the head of corporate bank wants to meet you."
But how did they know? Was it because you were coordinating as a placement head?
Yeah, she was interacting with me, right? She was wanting to get her slots done and all that, and I was fair, I guess, but I was also tough with most companies. In fact, I still remember that there was a huge scare that McKinsey won't turn up on campus because they're very upset with the placement committee that they're not being given this slot to meet people earlier and all that. I told them, boss, it won't work. Sorry. Same rules apply to everybody. They're always looking for this advantage, right? Seeking advantage. Nothing wrong. Yes. Each one has to play that game. In fact, they would send the freshly minted graduates to come to campus 2 weeks before, generally snoop around to figure out who are the good guys so that they can put them on the short list. All that they will do, right? So it is, I guess, par for the course. So they had spread this word around that McKinsey is very unhappy that they're not being given importance and all that. Because what we did in that year, not to belabor this too much, we said that this entire placement process is getting to be too much of a drudgery. So we said we will have the distinction between the placement day and the calendar day. So we will start calendar day 1, day 0 companies will start and finish on calendar day 2 in the afternoon. So there'll be a break for students also to recoup if required. And then calendar day 3 would be day 1 companies. They start at 9 a.m. and wrap up again by 1 a.m. So it was basically this day 0, day 1 is complete bogus, right? It's basically where you are in the chronological order. When do you go? Right, in that cohort. So on day 0, you had McKinsey, you had, I think Lehman came for the first time. Deutsche Bank had come for the first time. First time Lehman came to India, right? They picked up 5 people from our batch. So what we did well that year, I think, was we cracked international placements for the first time ever. So we had 42 international placements that year, which was a huge jump.
42 in 1998. That's a huge number.
That was a huge number. Because it was a concerted effort. We felt that, this was the time to go hard on it. I had an excellent batchmate of mine in the place Com who would work the phones, through the night, talk to companies and say, please come, you're missing out and all that. And we had a huge list of companies, man, because we had Lehman alone making 5 offers. We had Deutsche Morgan Grenfell making 2 or 3. Then we had a lot of companies. We had a company called FMC make 2 offers. We had, and I'm not able to recall the entire list, but we had 42 offers, international offers and all, which was a huge step up from the earlier number of, I think, 14 or 15 that the previous batch had. So in a way, the first time, we kind of made that.
I think, Shiva, that's a tremendous achievement, because I don't think after your 98 placements with those 42 offers, IIM Ahmedabad ever looked back. Obviously, there might be some global macroeconomic hiccups along the way, but that set the tone for the future, right from 98
No, absolutely.
9,000.
Yeah, I just said, I don't feel too comfortable blowing my own trumpet, but I think clearly that was a discontinuity that was created that year, right?
Yes.
And then I think then the trickle effect also happened. Bangalore and Calcutta also started seeing more international placements. But I think all credit to this particular batchmate of mine, Vivek Trilokinath. He's an investor in Bombay. I've not met him too often in the recent past, but then he was single-handedly, doing this, and I still remember those days very, very fondly. The kind of effort he used to put in, to get this. Right, so if he's watching this, I think hat tip to him, even now. And we had an excellent team here, because we had 2-3 people, working on the brochure, for example, right? It was amazing team effort. We had 2-3 people talking to local companies. Then we had 2-3 people actually managing the anxiety of the student body. I still remember once I was woken up at 1 o'clock and said, let's have a meeting. There is a huge issue. I said, okay, let's call for a meeting at 3 a.m. But everybody showed up, because I think people are anyway they're having sleepless nights in those days. So 3 o'clock in the morning, the only discussion point was, should we put the 4th term grades in the CV or not? And how critical is that? Because the 4th term grade is non-standard, right? As you know, because it also has electives. Should we have that or should we not have that? I said, listen guys, what are you smoking here? At 3 in the morning, you want to discuss this? Chalo, karte hai, right? I don't think it makes a material difference, but for a lot of people, this was probably the most important issue in their lives at that point in time, right? So I think we came to some conclusion. I don't remember clearly, but I think we said, you write your first year separately and write your GPA, including the 4th term, separately, or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but we came to some conclusion. But I think it went off very well there. So I think, great people, great opportunity to meet industry leaders. I remember Mindy Banga coming in that time. And again, he asked me, why have we not applied to you? I said, sorry, but...
Yeah. Anyways, Shiva, so from my side, hat tip to you, because I think because of your 98, the international placements and all the good work that you and your team have spent, all the hard work, like you mentioned, even IIM Bangalore and all the other IIMs got that trickle effect, not just in those years, but also in the following years.